Halloween. Sure, that's something I'm supposed to be doing. My Halloween special! Time to get organised. Oh my god, it's a big Shamrock giveaway at 9. Remember your masks. Oh wow. Almost forgot my mask. Hello and welcome to Matt's B-Movie Reviews Halloween Special. It's that time of year again, oh yes, where every horror fan steps out of the shadows and they can embrace their love of the genre to the world. Kumbaya, brothers and sisters, kumbaya. Personally, I am and always will be a massive fanatic to the horror genre, and I make no apologies for that whatsoever. Some people don't like horror on the principle that it's too dark, but there are so many subgenres that you just cannot sweep it under the same rug. Some of the most memorable horror movies are actually a mixture of slapstick comedy within a creepy framework. I mean, come on, how many movies have I reviewed that fit that bill, eh? Which leads me to the 2 movies that I picked for you this year. Sit back, relax and eat all your Halloween candy for my reviews of Satan's Little Helper and Pumpkinhead. Up first, Satan's Little Helper. Here's the plot. A little kid named Dougie is obsessed with a game called Satan's Little Helper, funnily enough. So much so in fact that he dresses up as you-know-who to go out trick-or-treating. He's determined to find Satan, and while searching the neighbourhood does indeed find him. Well, that is to say, he finds a psychotic killer in a mask. Uh-oh. This is ridiculous. He soon joins forces in the maniac's killing spree, thinking it's all a joke, but this guy ain't kidding. As Dougie decides to take Satan home, will they be safe from the psycho killer's wrath? Or will everyone realise in time to get the hell out of Dodge? I'm not saying. So this movie was a complete find on my Netflix account and seemed to have everything you could ever want in a Halloween set film. First to note is that this is a micro-budget digital feature, but it looks pretty well to say it was made in 2004. I mean, I've seen worse looking movies come out this year. It's a cast of no names, except for Pulp Fiction's Yolanda Be Cool actress, who plays Dougie's mum. She's always played oddball characters, except in this movie I sense that it wasn't an intentional performance, or at least on the filmmaker's part they weren't expecting it to go so mentally unstable. Maybe the director just gave her too much personal freedom with the role. I mean, even in a scene where they're sat sipping cider in the kitchen, she tends to veer from absolutely insane to manic mum within the space of 5 seconds. Which is a shame actually, because later in the film she gets tied up by the killer and taken to a Halloween ball where no one quite realises what's going on, thinking it's just part of her costume. I think this scene would have worked a hell of a lot better if they'd played the mother part as a straight role earlier on in the film, and then when the comedy elements get thrown in later on it would have actually been a better scene, but hey ho, it's done and dusted now. I think I'll do the rest of the job without this. Now, the actual concept of the movie had me laughing out loud when I first read it, and I probably laughed for the first half of the film where the killer's just, unbeknownst to everyone else, going around slashing throats and hanging people. Great fun. One scene that is slightly amusing is as the killer knocks on an old woman's door, he makes fun of her through the glass as she struggles with her Zimmer frame to get close. And when she does open the door, he smashes it into her and she flies straight across the room. Superman! Oh, that's so Satan! He gets some other notable kills as he smashes a guy through his own glass front door and then stabs store security and dumps him into a skip to avoid paying for some goods. Why don't we all do that? Oh, and the bit where he kills and smears a dead cat on a sign whilst a woman and her 2 children stare on in disbelief, thinking that it's just a Halloween prank is it's quite priceless. I did find myself questioning the mental capacity of Dougie, the main kid, as he seems completely oblivious to the manic behaviour of this psycho killer and never seems to realise that it's for real. Even in a scene where Satan hangs a woman from her own porch, he just stares on and goes, "Cool!" I mean, how are you going to fake that? Oh, Dougie. Plus there's even a scene where he climbs into a shopping cart and proceeds to tell Satan to run people over in the car park, according to the video game logic where they're aiming for the pregnant woman, the blind man, and anyone else who happens to be stumbling along in the car park. I mean, does he think this is some sort of elaborate CGI prank in front of him? Does this kid understand simple facts like running people over hurts them and stabbing people kills them? Carl, that kills people! Whoa, hey, I didn't realise. Just like the annoying kid in Phantom Menace, I felt myself getting extremely irritated with Dougie as he just helps the psycho around town, even going as far to tell him to, "Why did you come to my house? My dad's not home, there's only my mum and my sister." What? It's gonna lead to him getting killed? No candy for you, Dougie. No. No. Put it down. Put it down. No candy for you. There's a lot to enjoy about this movie. Like early scenes where the murderer poses his murder victims like murder victims, funnily enough, and everyone just assumes it's Halloween decoration is it's actually a nice touch. Unfortunately, the film's logic lets itself down by the third reel as Dougie's oldest sister and her boyfriend seemingly don't seem to want to get out of town and away from the killer and just return home. I mean, why would you stupidly keep going home when you could just drive on and get the hell out of town is beyond me. I assume because of the low budget that it was because that was the only main set that they had. Still, if you're stuck in that dilemma, create a real reason why they have to return home. Don't just have them returning home and saying, "Oh, I'll lock the door." It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work, especially if the killer changes masks. Who knows what he looks like? He could look like Jesus, or he could look like Cop, or he could look like... well, that's about it. Still, I'm very glad that I saw this movie over the Halloween season, and if you get a chance, I recommend that you see it yourself. So I'm going to give this movie 2.5 pumpkins out of a possible 5. And here's the full trailer available here on YouTube, so check it out. Oh, someone's at the door. I'll be right back. Oh, is this thing alright? Who knows? Just some more trick or treaters. I'm sure you've got your hands full with them yourself. I'm going to take this off because it keeps slipping. Wham bars. Used to love these. Oh yeah. Let's get on to our second movie of the night. Pumpkinhead. Or as we say up here in Scotland, Pumpkinhead. Here's the plot. Ed Harley runs a grocery store in backwater America. He's a redneck living a blissfully simple life with his young son. However, his world is soon shattered when a bunch of city kids come to town and accidentally run down his son on their motorbike. The boy soon dies, leaving Ed with nothing but a lust for vengeance. Luckily, there's a local superstition about a demon known as Pumpkinhead that can seek revenge on your behalf. In desperation, Ed goes deep into the swamp to find the witch who can summon the demon for him. Soon all hell breaks loose as the kids are hunted down one by one and murdered by the demon. As Ed realises what evil he has summoned to our world, he tries to help, but is it too late? And can Pumpkinhead be stopped? Now firstly, I want to say that this movie has such a great setup. The whole Grimm's fairy tale backstory just adds a whole depth to this movie which a lot of films don't even bother with nowadays. I mean, we've all heard our own ghost stories growing up in our own towns and cities, and I think this backstory touches upon those memories, which I think adds an instant connection with the viewer. At least in my opinion it does. Now the movie stars the ever amazing Lance Henriksen as Ed Harley. He always brings a real presence to the characters that he portrays on the screen. Apparently for this movie he had a set of dentures made to give him that redneck bucktooth look. He also went as far to get his own wardrobe for the character so he could get the character right. He also bought the shotgun that he uses in the movie and collected from several different places the silver dollars that he uses to tempt the witch later on into the movie. And if that's not character dedication, then I don't know what is. Also, as a quick aside, if you haven't seen The Quick and the Dead and seen Lance's role as Ace the Gunslinger, then I recommend you go check it out now. Link. Back to the movie though, there's also a small role by Buck Flower, who you may recognise from the Back to the Future trilogy and an assortment of John Carpenter films. He's excellent in this movie, it's just a shame that they didn't give him more screen time, as he brings a real sense of fear and urgency to the movie which could have been lacking without his small role. Now onto the actual Pumpkinhead effects in this movie. They look amazing, but let's face it, they were bound to, because this is Stan Winston's directorial debut. You know, the man who brought us creature effects like the Terminator movies, the Predator, and just a whole host of other films. I love the attention to detail, including the Pumpkinhead's facial features, which change dramatically throughout the film. It's this kind of detail that really heightens the monster to an actual creature, rather than just a plain rubber mask, which, let's face it, in a lesser director's hands could have easily been. And it beats modern CGI by a country mile. I mean, honestly, CGI is never ever going to replace real prosthetics which have a weight and a detail level to it which they just can't match when they put it into the production later on. It takes you out of the movie in my opinion. Although I would say CGI has its roles if used correctly. Now the body count is quite moderate in this movie. Blood and gore are kind of there but not really overused, but that's fine. It means that they can use suspense and terror and atmosphere a lot richer than just a standard slash and kill movie. Now this movie's got a lot of great scenes or moments that I really enjoyed. Now there's the bit where Ed attempts to get the witch to call off the demon. She states, "Let it run its course." After some back and forth he screams, "God damn you, God damn you!" To which she coolly replies, "He already has, son. He already has." Whew. Gives me chills every time, I tell you. Also, there's a really touching moment where Ed drives his truck with the body of his dead son on the front seat. He then hallucinates his dead son sitting up and going, "What you do, Daddy?" Sent chills up my spine again, and apparently this is the main reason that Lance Henriksen wanted to be in this film, just for that small moment. Must have struck a chord with him as well. I think it's because that little moment really brings out the character arc of Ed and how far he's strayed from the path by going to the witch and calling this demon, and he's put his own soul in jeopardy. It's really at the heart of that, and I really enjoyed it. The film has got a lot going for it, and it's a lot bigger and a lot better than the supernatural slash fest you may have been expecting. So I'm going to give Pumpkinhead a solid 3.5 pumpkins out of 5. Here's a link to the full trailer available here on YouTube. I couldn't find the movie unfortunately, sorry. Although the sequel seemed to be there for some reason, so whatever. And with that, we're going to draw this Halloween episode to a close. Be sure to let me know what you're watching this Halloween, because any recommendations of movies that I haven't personally seen is always a joy. I'm looking forward to watching Halloween 3 again because it's such a classic movie. So have a happy Halloween, be sure to share this video with a friend, and thanks for watching.
I'm really close behind you.
Move back.
You're doing
It's the one. God, you're Leviosa.